Hello and welcome to Class, where we have a class about a class. Topic of the day today is wizards, and just, my God, you may as well be saying, let's talk about Europe, or let's talk about Central Asia. Wizards are such a broad topic, and I've got, the player's handbook here, I've got Pathfinder books, I've got 4th edition, 5th edition. Across all different tabletop games, wizards are among the most complex classes out there, because it doesn't matter, you think you know everything about them, then somebody else comes up with a different build or a different way of looking at it or a different set of circumstances that make for a brand new type of wizard you never heard before. Saying wizard is like saying warrior or fighter or different things like that. It's depending entirely on who's playing. A wizard can be any number of things. But while we're here in class today, we're going to go over some of the very basic things and talk about some of the main archetypes that wizards tend to fill, so that you might learn maybe a couple of new things. I think everybody sitting here knows that wizards draw their magic potential from their intelligence. So if you have an intelligence of 10, you're not going to get very far. But if you have an intelligence of 18, you can cast up to 8th level spells. So, I think everybody watching this knows that. But by and large, it doesn't matter what I say, there's going to be 10,000 other things that I didn't say in the comments below. Oh, you didn't talk about this. Oh, you didn't talk about that. Because there's so much to cover when it comes to wizards. This might sound mean, but I actually discourage people from playing wizards in their first tabletop games, because there's so many just numbers, spells per day, spells per caster levels, saves, resistances, low health and no armor, your first couple of levels. There's a lot more complication to wizards than almost any other class, rivaled only by not only sorcerers, but just maybe rogues, because they have so many skills. But I know each of the base classes comes with their own complications, and prestige classes are something different altogether. But by itself, I believe wizard is by far the most complex class to just start playing with, because you have to worry about, picking your spells, knowing your spell level. Is your intelligence high enough? Do you have all your materials? Is there somebody between you and the bad guy? Because, you can't wear armor. Because you need to be able to move your hands and speak and hear yourself speak, I think, are the 3 rules for casting magic. There's so many conditions and modifiers that other classes don't have. Druids can't wear metallic armor. Yeah, good. That's their one thing. Or, a paladin isn't allowed to use poison, I think it is, for the most part. And just every class has a couple of little rules of things they're not supposed to do. Wizards have, I feel just books and books of stuff that they need to know. You practically have to study to be a wizard, in my opinion, which is fitting, because that's how their magic comes about. Is because if a wizard wants to be able to cast a spell, at the beginning of the day, they need to sit and study it and learn it, and then as soon as they've cast it, the knowledge or the incantation leaves their memory or leaves their mind, or however the book explains it, that they have to carry a spell book with them. If they want to cast that spell again, they need to restudy it. So I'm guessing it's once you've spoken the words and the spell leaves your body, it just erases itself. I don't know. Just as a matter of preference, I've always enjoyed sorcerers more, because they don't have to sit and study, and they're all about the passion, rather than the arcane art. What did we say it was? A wizard will learn everything in school and know more than a sorcerer, but a sorcerer will become useful more quickly and be able to cast more spells. So, wizard has a greater variety of spells, but sorcerer can cast spells more often. So, but that's neither here nor there. Now, As far as archetypes go, there's a whole bunch of different ones. Usually I can narrow down a class to like 3 basic archetypes like we did with the rogue, where the rogue has like the con man, the face guy, and the dungeoneer, and those were the 3 basically main types of rogue. There are so many different kinds of wizards, it's staggering. Like, you can get the specialist wizard, who, if a wizard wants to, he can declare a particular school of magic to be his specialty, and there's 8 schools. There's, alteration, destruction, necromancy, etc., down. There's 8 main schools. If a wizard declares a school as his specialty, he gets extra stuff from that school, and at the same time has to declare another school off limits. This is usually very easy because most, and I say most campaigns frown upon necromancy. So if you want to play a specialized wizard, you can declare any damn school you want and just say no necromancy and not have to worry about a goddamn thing. So, There was one set of rules, I don't remember what it was, where if you declared a school, it would pick for you. Like if you chose destruction, you couldn't do conjuration. Or if you chose necromancy, you couldn't do alteration. And things like that. They were paired up, basically. But I don't think most rule sets do that. So the specialty wizard will be like, oh, I want to be able to cast a bigger fireball or throw more fireballs than normal, so I'm a destruction wizard. Or, I like being able to fix things or to unmake things or change things based on their base structure. I'm going to be an alteration wizard. I've only ever seen a couple of alteration wizards because declaring like a branch of magic like off limits to yourself can be limiting, especially late game when you start getting like the big plethora of spells to choose from, and the one spell that you want just happens to be in the school of magic that you can't have, and it sucks. So, So, depending on how you look at it, the cost can outweigh the benefits, but that's the trade-off. So, what else? And just in terms of spells and abilities, wizards are pretty much the late bloomers of all the D&D core classes, because the fighter starts out great. He's got all the health, he hits the hardest. The rogue starts out with all those goddamn skill points. The cleric can heal, the paladin can turn undead. The wizard starts out, it used to be like with a 1d4 of health. Never mind taking, 1d4 plus your con, or 4 plus your con. Back in the day, you threw a 1d4 and you prayed that, somebody wouldn't sneeze on you and you would die. But, you would start out, in early versions of D&D, you might have one spell. You blew your wad and you were done. was what we used to say. Oh, he blew his wad, he's done. Give him like a cudgel or something so he's not completely useless. Or a sling or a bow and arrow. We had wizards taking stuff in like bow and arrow, so it was like once their one spell was done, they could still be of some use to a fight. Because in the early levels, wizards suck. And they basically have to, because once they hit like 3rd, 4th, 5th level, they start completely outstripping everybody else in terms of combat capabilities. What was the phrase we used to use? Fighters are squared and wizards are quadratic, or something like that. It was a math term. They basically become exponentially powerful. Instead of like going up on a line, they go up on like a bell curve. Like I said, especially beyond level 5, they just start outstripping people, everybody else, basically, in terms of sheer firepower. Especially with things like the fireball spell, the lightning bolt spell, where it's just like, you do 5d6 damage, and you can do that spell 6 times a day. Well, and DMs, if you want to know how to control that, make sure you remind them that fireballs explode, and most fireballs explode with a radius of about 30 feet. So if they throw that into an enemy, make sure they understand whether their allies are nearby, or if there's like a tree nearby that's going to catch fire, or a building with walls, or a dungeon. If there are stone walls around you, the explosion's got to go somewhere. And if the stone walls aren't given, the air's going to give, and it's going to come straight back to you. So the best way to shepherd a fireball slinging asshole is to remind him that fire burns. It doesn't just, it's not magic like in, or not magic. It's not just going to disappear like a bunch of pixels in freaking World of Warcraft or some strategy RPG where you can shoot a fireball through all your allies, hit the dragon, and not hurt anybody else. No. Fireballs explode, and they do a lot of damage. Same thing goes for lightning bolts. In fact, I think the only spell, one of the only spells anyway, that you don't need like a clear, that you would want to try and make sure you had a clear line of sight for is Magic Missile. Because Magic Missile doesn't do very much damage, but it doesn't miss. And you can't miss with it unless, unless you can't see them or if they have the shield spell. And the shield spell is specifically made to combat Magic Missile, so there you go. Another archetype of wizard that I've seen is the damage dealer, pretty much. The what do we call it? The city nuker. We had, I don't remember whose comment it was a long time ago, so they were talking about wizards in like my video comments, and somebody made a comment about a, like a target-seeking fireball or something. So if you threw all of a wizard's feats into like a special attack like lightning bolt or fireball or the main damaging spells, there's like 5 or 6 that people usually go to, and then target something large like a city, and your fireball or whatever is already pumped up, then it just lights the whole damn town on fire. We call those the city nuking wizards. And you know, there's other names for it. There's the, you know, the fireball wizard, the lightning bolt wizard, the, you know, the burst damage guy, the guy, you know, the one trick ponies that's all they're really good for is like, oh, there's a bad guy, fireball. You know, oh, okay, they explode into a million pieces. What's next? Pretty much the most boring goddamn wizard you've ever seen. Now, I am not against combat wizards, but they tend to be boring for me. It's like if you can't answer it with fireball, like if you have enemies that are fire resistant or lightning resistant or what have you, because that's what the DM is going to do, by the way. If you answer all your problems with fireball, or if you answer all your problems with lightning bolt, that's what it's going to turn into, is fire resistant enemies and lightning resistant enemies, just so you can't blow them the fuck up in the first turn, because you threw all of your points and all of your feats into one, just like, nuke it attack. Because there are wizards out there like that there's just players that don't give a damn other than doing the most damage. You know, and that's fine if you want to play a soldier or a villain, worse yet, if that's the only kind of magic that your wizard is happy studying, is how to cause the most harm to others. What kind of person is he? You know? If you stop to think about what kind of character that is, all he's good for is burning things or striking things with lightning. The hell kind of guy does he sleep well at night? My God. Another kind of wizard we called the utility wizard, or the Batman wizard. This was the guy who would take, by and large, would take all the non-damaging spells, you know, Mage Hand, Levitate, Fly, Spider Climb, Repair, Sonic Boom, or not Sonic Boom, Sonic Sound, all the spells that, you know, something breaks, he can repair it. There's a switch too high, he can fly. Spider Climb, give it to the rogue so he can sneak over the wall. The utility, basically if they don't have a bard, almost. Altering the situations of others and helping out, repairing items, breaking items, you know, mind control, anything that wasn't like directly involved with doing damage in combat, and they just like avoid all the damaging spells. We called those utility wizards for a long time. We had one guy where he basically kind of built Batman. He got like a grappling hook and a rope, and he learned spider climb, fly, the knock spell, open and close, glyph, exploding rune. Well, that's a damaging spell. He had exploding rune for his damaging spell to set traps, but the not really a secondary character, but more of a jack of all trades. Like if there's no bard or if the rogue's not doing a very good job, you need a tool for everything. Kind of wizard, we called those utility wizards, and those are the types that tend to run around with like a wand of magic missile 4 or a rod of fireball or something, like an item that they can hold their own in combat with, because the spells that you choose kind of define who you are as a wizard. The way your spell book is filled out will describe you. Even if nobody sees your character sheet, they'll look at your spell list and say, oh, it's this kind of wizard. Because the grouping of spells you pick will kind of define what kind of person you are. Like Bree, my girlfriend Bree, when she was playing as a wizard, she had like acid touch and Melf's acid arrow, blind, what was it? She had the miss spell, things like that. She knew that maybe her enemies were going to get too close, and if they did, they would start suffering -10s. If they started like manhandling her character, she could do acid touch and grab them by the face and things like that. So it says a lot about who you are. And again, this is another great reason to build a character before you build a person before you build a character, because if you can give like 3 or 4 paragraphs of how this person's life has gone, what they've studied, why they've studied that, the religious implications of wielding arcane might and things like that, would probably shape what spells they know and why they know them. If you ever stop and look at a wizard and ask why, you may find a better, like, a more well-rounded character. So, something to think about. Let's see. And wizards are one of the best classes in terms of prestige classes, because there are so many different kinds. There's the illusionist, the arcane trickster, the Archmage. There's dozens of prestige classes that base themselves out of wizard, and they cross with just about every class. The arcane trickster, I think, is from rogue, and the illusionist, I think, also is from rogue. The Archmage, probably, what was it? It stems from wizard, and knowing a lot of different knowledges, I think, were the only prerequisites for that. And he like transcends like the mentality of being mortal and becomes like a super, I know everything, therefore I know all the magics sort of prestige class. Archmage was actually pretty cool. If you could get all of the points into knowledge, you would basically have to use all your gold and money, because unless you roll really lucky, you're not going to have a whole ton of knowledge. What was it? Knowledge arcana, knowledge planes. It asked for like 5 different knowledges, and to have them relatively high to become an archmage. So going straight up through magic has to be earned. So when you're even just in a base wizard, you have to suffer that first 3 levels, sucking, before you get fireball, before you get, lightning bolt, before you get sleep. People underestimate sleep way too much, especially when an enemy uses it and 3/4 of the party falls asleep. And they go, oh, you can't do that. That's supposed to be our trick. The bad guys can't use sleep. Oh, yes, they can. It's not my fault if you rolled bad. That's how the dice fall. Sleep is like a level 1 spell, I think. So it's got a base resistance of like 11, I think, maybe 10, depending on the modifiers that go into that, the intelligence modifier of the caster. So you've got a 50% chance pretty much early on of shrugging it off. So if you fall for sleep, then, it's not my fault. And then people say there's supposed to be certain things that DMs shouldn't use, like sleep or mind control or things like that. And you go, no, that's what they use when they're being serious. When there's going to be an actual challenge, is when an enemy wizard, you've got 5 or 6 dudes in front of your party. What's the first thing that happens? Enemy wizard casts sleep, and then anybody that falls is out of the combat. The people that are still awake, get killed, and the people that are asleep get stabbed in the face, and they're dead too. So that ends a battle pretty quickly. Sleep is really, really powerful, especially early on. So those are really the main 3: the utility wizard, the city nuke wizard, and the specialization wizard, or the specialty school wizard, are like the main 3. And like I said, there's a bunch more, especially the ones that are aiming for prestige classes that have like that level in rogue, so they can turn into arcane tricksters or whatever. But there's ones that... Oh, and something else. I know this just crossed my mind the other day, is that it's interesting how many wizards dress like wizards and then wonder why they get shot first. Like if you're going up against a bunch of bandits and some doofus in a robe and pointed hat comes out, they always go shoot the wizard first because they know you have fireball and lightning bolt and all that other bullshit that's going to mess with them when they may not even have magic weapons. So of course they aim for the guy that's like starting, getting ready to start up his fireball. They aim for you first. So if you're not wearing armor, which you shouldn't be if you're a wizard, because it'll give you spell failure on a percentile, don't wear a giant fucking robe and pointed hat, because number one, it makes you look like a jackass, and unless you're like a gleeman or like a street magician and you're there just to entertain people, then put it on. But otherwise, find some peasant's clothes, or find a I forget what it's called, if it's the glamour enchantment or something like that, where it can make your clothes and or armor look like a lord's outfit or something, to where you look clean and upright and well tended to, instead of like declaring what you are with your clothes, with your big magic staff and your freaking... Don't do that, because you'll always get killed first. The magic user in combat beyond like level 3 will be the most immediate danger to the field, so you're gonna die first. So don't dress the part. Find a sailor's outfit. Dress like a hooker. Well, not like a hooker, but dress, show off your tits so they'll be too busy staring at you to see the magic missile coming. Do something. Don't dress like a wizard. I know I'm talking in circles, but my God, the number of wizards I have pin-cushioned with throwing knives and arrows and stuff and just different things, when they see like this party of guys armed to the teeth, duked out, dressed out in armor and with their holy swords and their shields and their leather cuirasses and twin daggers dripping with poison, and then this doofus wanders up dressed in a robe. Yeah, you're the softest target. You're going to die first. Not only that, because you're the most dangerous guy standing there. This isn't a video game. They don't automatically attack the tank first and you last, much less the healer last. God help you if you cast a healing spell at my table in the middle of combat. Oof. Well, that's for the cleric video, but it's best they don't know you're a caster until it's too late, or unless you're well well out of range. And since most bandits probably carry bows and arrows on top of their regular swords, out of range could be well beyond 120 feet. So, invisibility is your friend, fog is your friend, cover is your friend. Your tank standing in front of you is your friend. Just be wary, especially in the first few levels. They're gonna aim for you first. If your DM is any kind of intelligent, they'll aim for the caster. They'll aim for the cleric. If anything, they'll aim for your battle turtle or your tank or whatever. They'll aim for him last. Because, yeah, he can take all the damage, but, can he dish it? That's a maybe. He might have a big scary sword, he might not. The wizard certainly is already conjuring up that big fireball. We better shoot at him first, so, And I know there's 1,000 topics to cover when it comes to wizards. I may have, part 2s of certain classes if I come up with more stuff, because I didn't, with druids, I didn't talk about, plague druids or wither druids that conjure rats and destroy plants and different things like that. So some of these might have part 2s, but just in terms of wizard, there's 1,000 different topics. Enchanting weapons, making yourself unhittable physically, enchanting other party members, enlarging party members, changing mud to stone to water, stone to air. God forbid you come across a utility wizard with enough transmutation spells, they're not going to walk through a door ever again. They'll just turn, I turned that stone wall into air with a big enough archway for us to walk through. I turned it into mud and have the tank charge through it. Different things like that. I've seen wizards that do that. So there are infinite possibilities and combinations depending on what they come up with, B, what the party needs, and C, whatever fun combo they read online that they want to get into, because there's so many books and different things. The wizards cover so many different bases, other than, I think, healing. Because you can have a wizard tank. There are certain spells, there's I forget what it's called, but it makes it 50% likely that you will automatically be missed in physical combat, or just different things like that. Like I said, there's 1,000 different ways to do a wizard. Those are my main 3 or 4. So hopefully you gleaned a little bit of knowledge out of this. If you have any experience playing a wizard or playing with a wizard and you want to share something with me, let me know in the comments below. Be sure to mash that like button, all that good stuff. And I'll see you on the next episode of Class. Keep gaming.